Mm. Good evening, everyone. What's today? Filming on Wednesday evening. All right. So this one's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna go over a few things in from the handbook. Um, Supervisors of Unifi. Just so y'all know, if y'all don't know, there is an actual handbook for the supervisors. Ooh, my eyes. Okay. Allergies. I was outside earlier today in the country. Um, look. Oh, all right. So, some stuff that I've been hearing from other individuals, they say that I was doing too much. Okay, you say I'm doing too much. I was a supervisor. What? So I did wheelchair recovery. I didn't work on a concourse, so I wasn't always busy the whole 8 hour shift. I didn't have to pull flight sheets, but I pulled them because some people were being greedy with the chairs. Um, my motto was certain floors, if they had less than 20, I would do a chair drop. If they had more than 20, they didn't need a chair drop. And sometimes I would just take a stack of 3 chairs, because especially depending on if it was a concourse that had maybe 10 chairs and they got a lot of pre-boards, no, not pre-boards, inbounds coming in. Yeah, that's the word. um Also, my career working at the airport, I don't want to work in the airport anymore. um that's not what I went to college for. Like I said, I'm gonna reiterate this for some people who think that I want to have a career at the airport. I have 2 bachelor's degrees and a master's degree. I speak more than one language, more than two, three, I don't know, I forgot. English, Espanol, Italiano, Francia, Deutsch, that's German if you don't know, and Arabia. Um, I know a little bit when it comes to Arabic because I haven't spoken it in 2 years since my fiance. So, y'all, I can get a job anywhere by being multilingual and being able to translate. Oh, yeah. Being able to translate. What does a person with my education and my knowledge of the different languages? Oh, and I can read Latin. Sorry, forgot. I always forget Latin. Um, what does a person of my knowledge look like with 2 degrees, a master's degree, trilingual, polyglot, whatever you want to call it? Working a job for $20.50 an hour. Um, I'm sorry. I'm better than that. There are probably other people who are way better than what they are doing those jobs. Um, it's probably other people who have 2 master's degree and a not two bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and you speak 2 or 3 languages. Yo, you're better than that. Go apply to be a translator at the courthouse, or go apply and be a translator for an attorney. Those jobs pay very good. You can even contract yourself out to people so you can translate documents. I've always wanted to do translating because it's a job where I'm not working with too many people. The only thing I have to do is translate the documents, make sure the document is correct. Oh, you can even work for a publishing company like Harry Potter, uh, 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, I heard the version in Espanol, but that made me think of it. But yeah, I'm very educated. Um, I went to school. My mother is a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. She's retired. My aunt, who she's a teacher. Her husband was a teacher. My sister, mi hermana, she's a teacher. So I have, my family, is like educated, teaching, and they want you to learn. Like that's why I went to college and completed all those courses. If I could, I would still be in college right now, learning as much as I can. I probably have about 6 degrees, but um, college costs money. So the only reason why I took the job at Unifi at that time was because I looked for jobs that allow you to go to school, and I was actually wanting to go to school to pick up another degree. Oh yeah, and I do some work with computers. Computer science, building computer programs and software, stuff like that, creating web pages, websites, making them look good. I learned, I actually had a third degree. Yeah, that was my third degree in college that I was actually working on. So like I love education. Because there's so much out there to learn. Y'all, if you haven't gone to college, go to college. Um, if you have the grades, from high school, go back to school. See if you can get a scholarship. Look for a grant. Look for something. Because one thing that they cannot take away from you, they can take your job, they can take anything from you, is that they cannot take what you've learned in school. They cannot take your knowledge away from you. That's the one thing, if you all don't know. You will always have your education. You will always have your degree. I can really do any job that there is out there in the world. I'm not planning on staying here in the state of Georgia. But I'm a I'm very smart individual. It took me a while, to think about doing these videos. And I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm not going back to that airport. I don't want to be at that airport. Like, why would I go back to that airport to get hit on again? People, certain, I don't want it. I don't want that. I want to do like a solo job to where it's just me and I don't have to deal with others. I work very good when I'm by myself because I know how to stay busy. Yeah, I know it's evening, but my lips feel really dry. But yeah, I know some individuals, they say I was doing too much. No, I wasn't doing too much. I was basically using my education, my knowledge from my degrees in order to do my job and go above and beyond. Because a lot of times my team, we were finished. So what if I was checking attendance for other people in other areas? My team didn't have to worry about their attendance. I didn't have to worry about them coming in late. They always called out. If they didn't call out, I was contacting them, texting them. Because if I'm there and I'm on time to work, you need to be there too. Because when my team members are not there, guess who has to do the work? So if there's a few concourses and I can't put people on, say, the domestic side, guess who's walking those floors? So when my teams was there, I was able to, to relax a little bit. Um, and then let me mention some things as well. Clear some things up. I know a lot of y'all want to say that I was dating him. No, we were not dating. I was not sleeping with the man on a consistent basis. I had, while I was employed there, I had 2 slip ups. One, it was like the first time I had had alcohol in a few years. Um, and, I, and there was a couple, times because he was someone that I trusted, because he was a guy, he didn't flirt with me, he didn't hit on me or anything like what like how some guys would do. It wasn't like that. Um, and look, if I was sleeping with someone on a consistent basis, I would have a smile on my face. I would have never worked as hard as I did. Um, I put all of that energy, that pent up energy, into my work because I was focused. I was not focused on a man. You know, he was able to do whatever the heck he wanted to do. Y'all can say we were in a relationship. Guess what? Cool beans. I know, he knows, we were never in a relationship. And then one time, the second time was when I was ready to quit. I was so ready to quit because I got tired of them giving me stuff to do when it was not my responsibility as a supervisor. And I did not want to continue having to do all of the work because I had been by that time this year, back in February, January, I had been the only supervisor since July, because the other no, actually June, because she was out on sick leave. So y'all think about it. June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. 9 months I was running the recovery team without another supervisor to assist me. When supervisors were being hired to work on the floors, but nope, they never replaced the supervisor when they were with me. Not only that, I was the only driver, the only certified person to drive the tug from April, May, June, July, 4 months in the hot summer. And no, it was August. 5 months. I was certified. I didn't have a tug driver. I didn't have not another supervisor to help drive or a manager. That's when I ended up recruiting Roach around June, and he started helping out with recovery. He wasn't officially the recovery manager. He really wasn't the recovery manager. He was a fill-in, but because he was off Sunday, Monday, and the manager was supposed to have been off on Thursday, Friday. So technically, he was just a fill-in manager to help me to run things because I was by myself. I ran that team, and I kept everything together, and I was, getting frustrated. So, I had a lot on my plate when I was there. But, and when, like I said, when my people didn't show up, I filled in for them. I was making sure everybody got chairs. Prior to me being certified as a tug driver, they fired our tug driver in November. It was around Thanksgiving. So I didn't have a tug driver from Thanksgiving, December, January, February, March, April. 5 months until I got certified. And a lot of you who were there, y'all know that I was pulling those wheelchairs, like, behind me. We had to walk either between the concourses, or if it wasn't that many stacks that we were taking to the floors, it would be via the plane train. Like, I was like sweating. I lost a lot of weight doing that too. Well, not a lot of weight. I got, really strong. I did lose some weight doing that. And then, but yeah, I struggled. I didn't complain, not one bit, while I had 2 station managers some days who were capable of driving the tug, let alone, a male puppy. And then they went and got, managers to help out, because I'm like, look, Sunday and Monday was when the other people who were certified to do the tug, they were off. So Sunday and Mondays were like 2 days of the week that we struggled on to get the chairs to the floors. But guess what? I made sure everybody was covered. I found a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. But yeah, I did what I was supposed to do. And again, like I say, for those people who think I was doing too much, doing more than what I should have been doing, no. What a supervisor is a person in leadership who takes action. That's what I did. I took action. Basically, you take ownership and responsibility for situations, and being willing to inspire, motivate, and empower others to work together through challenges. That's what a supervisor is. Someone who's in leadership. Also, you evaluate situations. You make decisions. You collaborate with others. You don't just make the decisions on your own. You work with your peers. You plan and you develop steps for achieving goals. And that's what I did. Because if anyone actually seen like how I did the lineup, I had specific times when every floor needed a chair drop. I'm sorry. For those who think that I did too much, how about you need to do a little bit more instead of just throwing yourself in the work. Be able to do multiple things at once. I can't help that I like to be a busy person and whatnot. That's just me. You find a way to use effective communication. You build relationships. Like, I knew about all the people, every individual that was on my team and extras, what was going on, trying to make things better, trying to make the job a better place for them to work. I didn't do stuff on my own. I got permission for a lot of stuff. I was always asking questions because I didn't want to overstep. Only time I overstep is when a person I'm trying to communicate with it was holding me back. That's the only time I will overstep. Because, like I said, when I started, I was not trained as a supervisor. I just came from dispatch and put on the floor. That was it. There was no training over at Virginia Ave because a lot of us, we just were put on the floor. And like another rules for a supervisor, you follow up on tasks to ensure everyone is working safely together, while you correct and you coach individuals for operational success. Now, being a supervisor, it creates an impact that resonates throughout the operation. Like, there were some days, when I didn't want to deal with agents, because I was trying to deal with my recovery team. That's I had to focus on my team. I had to make sure my folks were squared away and good to go. Oh, it's in there. But take that off. But yeah. I'm sorry for those who think that I was doing too much. No, you're not doing enough. I stayed on top of my people's attendance. I was all like, y'all, I learned how to use the Chronos like really good. Um, like I don't know another supervisor who knew how to use Chronos the way I knew how to use Chronos. And there's actually a handbook to use Chronos, so I did read that. I'm also a nerd. I love reading books. I've read a lot of books in my past, and I used to read about 600 pages a day. I can drown myself in literature or in history and stuff like that. And let's see. And then also, a supervisor's job is to make sure people are doing things safely at work. If you all didn't know, I was actually on the safety committee. That's one of the reasons why I was at certain places, and then I would go back and tell the safety manager, hey, these people, because if I were to go tell the people on the floor, they didn't really care. They wouldn't address the issue. So that's where where I would come in. I have to overstep because I'm like, okay, I told you so and so doing this, but you didn't handle that situation or fix the problem of what they're doing. Like some of you all, you just let the people do what they want to do, and that's not how a company is ran. Like Delta, they are ran, to me, in my opinion, from the stuff that I've heard, Delta is ran the correct way. Unifi does how that company here in Atlanta, it's not ran the right way because you got the wrong people in the top. They're so laid back and confident. The only thing they care about is a paycheck and getting paid. That's it. They don't have a heart for the company. Because like the values of the company was passion. You got to have passion for the company. I had passion for the company. I still do, except for the Atlanta area, because it's a bunch of, integrity. You be honest, ethical, and you do the right thing. I was always doing the right thing. Not always. I always did the right thing 80 to 85% of the time. Because like I said, what I did for manipulator, that was wrong of me. But I did it because I felt bad for my friend. They were worried and stuff like that. And they still wanted their job. And then the supervisor had wrote them up late last. Because like I actually witnessed some of the stuff that he was doing when he first got there. I don't know what he's like now, but hey, he wasn't trained properly. This is probably his first job in leadership. Also, another thing, culture. It's plenty of people from different cultures everywhere. People from South America, Central America, Mexico, Honduras, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Trinidad, Jamaica, Canada. There's somebody that's from Canada. Overseas, Europe, Africa, Ethiopia, Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, Kenya, Ethiopia. It's a lot of people that are from different cultures. Oh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia. It's a lot of people from different places, and I've met a lot of these individuals to know like it's a blend. It's a blend of people. It's not just people from America that's there. They're learning how to do things the American way. And a lot of times they would get into arguments with people who's not, that didn't doesn't really know foreign ways. So I would, talk and say, hey, can't do that here. Easy peasy. I don't get loud with people. I don't curse. Um, you just you just take time. You listen to the agents when they need to talk. You ask why. You explain why. If you're very familiar with the handbook, you can do that. And I was very familiar with the handbook. I knew the codes by heart. You respect everybody, because if you give respect, it doesn't matter if they're not giving you respect. You respect because you're a leader. The nicer you are to individuals, guess what? It's gonna break them down, and they're gonna start being nice to you. Because I've had a couple of people that were like that. Um, you basically and you and basically, and then like for me, when I help people I help individuals get uniforms for work because they didn't have the money. I go to Goodwill and buy them something. I'm like, I wasn't gonna go buy them something expensive like $30 pants, $40 pants. I went to Goodwill because I was on a budget, making $20.50 an hour. But yeah, it's not about a person who's doing too much. It's basically being a supervisor is someone who wants to be there to help make a change to make the company run better. That's what is in the supervisor handbook. Um, I need to learn how to. But also, so with that being said, I don't care, about coming back to the airport because hopefully by next year at the end of FIFA, that's my goal. I will be gone from the state of Georgia after the soccer games. Woohoo! My favorite sport is soccer. The only sport I pay attention to. But yeah, I know this might seem a little bit boring, but I just want to reiterate to some people. Also, sexual harassment, big no. If y'all have been sexually harassed, please report it. Do not report sexual harassment to your station managers because they're gonna sweep it up under the rug. Because I know a lot of people who have reported sexual harassment and it was swept up under the rug and the person was still there. They don't really know how to handle sexual harassment. I say go to human resources, report it to them, and then they can give you the next step, because that's usually where you're supposed to do. Because the station managers are very slow at getting back to people. Very slow. Again, y'all have computers, y'all have phones. Link your phones to your email, link your calendars to your phone from your email. Put time down when you need to do something. Be more organized. But I never really wanted to work at the airport. I'm sorry for those who think that I was doing too much, that you feel like I was doing too much. I was being me. I'm not like you. I'm not a follower. I was a leader, a supervisor. Shoot, I gotta call him back. But yeah, I was a leader, not a follower. I'm not gonna do the same thing that you all are doing. Not only that, I really didn't have, and the reason why I was hanging out with the zone lead, because and whatnot, because I've been in the same. Well, he told me he had no family here. So basically, I've been in that situation before where I had no family. So I felt bad, and then we got to talking and getting to know one another, because I knew exactly like some of the stuff that he was going through at the time. I thought that he was here by himself, but I didn't have supervisors asking me to go hang out with them because I didn't drink. I don't, smoke. That either this or this. I don't No, that's not me. I don't do this. I don't dance. I have no rhythm. The things I like to do, I like going to the park. I like going biking, skating, doing fun stuff. I'm not a nightlife. That was not me. I like riding horses. So, I'm a country girl. I'm not a city girl. So there was no supervisors there because I've always, hung out with the people that were like, there was one other individual who I hung out with, but, since I haven't been at the job when I started hanging out with this person, they did too much of this. And I don't like being around that type of stuff. Um, but, yeah, no supervisors or even management who did not want to sleep with me or flirt with me, hit on me. You know, they didn't want to hang out. Nobody really invited me anywhere. So, because I was always stayed to myself. And like I said, I met another individual who I thought that, had the same similar situation as me. We saw things the same way. Um, and that was really it. It was just someone who I can talk about with things. Like when I talked with this person, we didn't even talk about work. We talked about history. We talked about the past, like dinosaurs, how the country, like how life was created. This is the stuff that I'm into. Science, history, um, literature. You know, he told me about a book. Guess what? I read the book and we talked about the book, about what it meant. Like I said, sometimes people meet and, yeah, they're in a different like level as you, but when you're outside of work, you're talking about very interesting stuff. You talk about like families, settling down. But this bastard was already married. Um, so he was already settled down. And shoot, if I had known he was married, if I had known his situation, like I'm a very big advocate when it comes to people who are married, they still can work it out and, be together. I'm a very big advocate of, having couples work it out, go through counseling, figure out what it is that's wrong. Maybe you all need to start over again, start dating, each other again. Go out on dates. I've read books, about some people just restart the relationship and it gets better. And this book that I read, when you start, you know, I read, I read a lot. So that's why I'm a very big advocate. Maybe he could have gotten back with his wife, but he chooses to be what he's doing. But other than that, sorry you all if you all thought I did too much, if you all thought I didn't do enough, if you all think that I was sitting up under him. No, I was not. um I basically did what my job entailed, and as you know, now that I'm not there, guess what you all are lacking? CS. Yeah. So, all because you all thought that I was in a relationship with him. Not only that, the current guy that I'm with, with now, like I said, I have been talking to someone on and off again. And then, yeah, I've been talking to someone on and off. Now we've been talking consistently. Um, more than the people who I've been trying to give a chance to talk to me. Like I'll talk to them, ask them, get advice, because sometimes I'm getting advice from guys because I want to know what to do in the situation, not just because of a certain someone. Hell, if me and you are dating, I want to know how you would see or perceive that situation, because if me and you are to be talking, I want to know what how you think about it. But no, you individuals don't care. You all just want to sleep with me. like I said, I will not be intimate with anyone until I have a ring on it. Because I don't get down that way. I will never get down that way. And not only that, I'm also in the process of something. I'll talk about that later. But other than that, I love you all. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, share, comment, whether it's a heart, the Korean way. I can't do it with this hand, you know. I wish I had another person, because that's what I used to do. Yeah, just make sure the word gets out. If y'all, I know this video is a little bit boring today, but yeah, just make sure y'all keep sharing to the about Master Manipulator, because I want I want this to be seen. I want it to go viral. If I ever do get monetized for this channel, I really would like to use the money from this channel, from this right here, to help women, get counseling, therapy, men also get therapy, counseling, to help out with, people who have been in this situation dealing with a narcissist and a manipulator. And also those, helping. I want to give back to the community. I've always loved giving back to the community. For people who don't know me, like from my hometown, I've always done community service. I was always signing up to do something when I used to work for Target. I've done food banks. I've done like stuff for Christmas, helping out gifts, buying gifts, for the kids, going to the hospital, visiting sick kids. Like, I like volunteering and giving my time back to the community to help others. I am a very humble person. I'm not selfish. Those of you all know I'm not selfish. And there are people who will tell you I'm not a selfish person at all. Even if I don't have enough money for something, guess what? I'm going to give it to another person. I remember last year I had one guy, he was hungry. He came and took my food. I didn't care, as long as he ate. And it's next time I made food, I made sure I brought 2 plates, one for me, one for him, so he can have something to eat. Like, a lot of you all are selfish. Some of you all do not give to anyone. You may not know about me giving, to others and helping others, because, that's not something to be seen. But yeah, I don't care if I don't work at the airport anymore. I do miss a lot of you all. It was, nice talking to some of you and whatnot. But, learning about you, learning about your cultures, where you're from, stuff like that. But me, I'm too overqualified to work at the airport. That's not the line of work I want to be in. I don't want to be in aviation. Because, like, even now, like, I tried it out. Even now, trying to apply to a job at a restaurant, and I tried. Guess what? I'm overqualified to work at a restaurant. They won't hire me because I'm overqualified. That's always been my thing. I'm overqualified for a lot of stuff. But again, thank you all for the support. And if you all want to chat or hang out with me and go to those places, go ride horses, go have some fun, just no drinking and alcohol, or go out and eat. If you can't afford to, to pay for it, I don't mind covering the tab. Just be respectful of what you get, or mindful of what you get. I don't mind picking up the tab. Yeah. Toodles.